Hello and welcome back to my channel. How are you all doing? Hope you're well. If you're new here, thank you for subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please don't forget to do so. Today I'll be showing you how to make persimmon jam and how to do water bath canning without a canner. The water bath canning method will help preserve your jam for months and help it last longer. The great thing about this recipe is that you don't need any fancy equipment and it's pectin free, as persimmons have natural pectin in them. If you want to know how to make persimmon jam, please keep watching. For this recipe, I'll be using 7 medium-sized persimmons, 3 tablespoons of sugar. You can adjust this measurement to your liking. Juice of 2 lemons. I'm using fresh lemons. I've got cloves and cardamom, which are optional, and a glass jar. I decided to add cardamom and cloves to the jam for some spiciness, and also I noticed that persimmon is an autumn fruit and goes really well with both spices. I'll begin by peeling the skin off of the persimmons and also take the top off. The reason why I won't be adding any pectin to this jam is because persimmons have natural pectin in them, so the jam will thicken and have a nice consistency without adding pectin. Also, in case you're wondering why I'm adding lemon juice to the list of ingredients, that's because persimmons don't have enough acidity in them, and by adding lemon juice, this will increase the acidity level. After peeling the persimmons, I'm gonna go ahead to cut them into cubes. They don't have to be perfect cubes. Now that I'm done chopping the persimmons, this is what they look like. Next, I'm going to transfer the chopped persimmons into a pan. I'll add about 4 tablespoons of water just to kickstart the cooking process and prevent it from sticking to the bottom of the pan. I'll leave it to cook for a couple of minutes on low heat. As you can see now, it's beginning to cook, so I'm gonna add the cloves and cardamom and leave to continue cooking. I'll occasionally keep stirring the persimmons so as to prevent them from sticking to the bottom of the pan, and then I'll put the lid on so that it can cook faster and produce more juice. Now that the persimmon is beginning to soften, I'm gonna give it a quick stir, add some sugar and lemon juice, and put the lid back on. In case you're wondering why I've put the lid on, it's because I want it to simmer and cook in its own juice, because if I take off the lid too early, the water would evaporate and cause the jam to dry up and thicken quickly, which I do not want. Now it's about 10 minutes later and I like what I'm seeing. The jam is coming along nicely. Now I'm gonna use a potato masher to break up the big chunks of persimmon. You really don't need a special utensil for this step. A regular potato masher or a fork will do an excellent job. I'm gonna mash it until it has a puree-like consistency. Also, I'm not gonna take out the cardamom and cloves as they've softened nicely and blends well with the jam. As you can see, the jam is beginning to thicken. I can't wait to see the end result. Just look at that consistency. Over here is my sterilization corner. Again, you don't need any fancy equipment for this. For this, I simply placed a circular cooling rack in a stock pot and placed the jars on top. Mainly because I don't want the jars to come in direct contact with the heat from the bottom of the stock pot. I'm going to leave the jars to boil for 10 minutes. This step is essential as it helps kill off any bacteria or germs that could be on your jar. A point worth mentioning is that if you're using recycled jars, make sure that they are free from rust. Please take extra care when using this method of sterilization. I'll do the same for the lids. Now that they're done sterilizing, I'm gonna place them on a tray which is lined with kitchen towel and leave them to dry naturally. Now that the jars are sterilized and the jam has cooked perfectly, it's time to transfer the persimmon jam into the jars. For this process, I'm using a makeshift funnel which is from an old mustard bottle. Next, I'm gonna use this chopstick to help release any bubbles that might be in the jam. Next, I'm gonna put the lid on using a tongue as I do not want to touch the inner part of the lid. Next, I'm gonna screw on the lids tightly. To begin the water bath canning process, I've placed the jars of persimmon jam in the stock pot. I've placed a circular cooling rack at the bottom of the stock pot like I did in the sterilization process because I do not want the jars to have direct contact with the heat from the cooker. A good practice when using this water bath canning method is to make sure that the jars are fully submerged in water. I'll leave the jars of persimmon jam to cook for 10 minutes. Alternatively, if you don't have a cooling rack that will fit your stock pot, you could place a dishcloth at the bottom of your pot and place the jars on it. In case you're wondering what the benefit of the water bath canning process is, the thing is that this process will actually help preserve the jam by using pressure created by the boiling water to create an environment that will help prevent bacteria from growing on the jam, which means that the jam can last for months. But if you will be consuming your homemade spiced persimmon jam within a few weeks, you can simply transfer the jam to the refrigerator and skip this step. Now 10 minutes has elapsed and I'm going to turn off the cooker and take out each of the persimmon jam from the stock pot. Again, take extra care when doing this. Now, this step is to show you how you know if your jar has fully sealed. As you can see here, I'm able to push down the top of the lid, which means that the jar hasn't fully sealed. So, after your water bath canning, you need to give your jars a bit of time to pop. I waited for a couple of minutes after the water bath canning and I could hear a few pops here and there, meaning that the jar has been fully sealed, and that means that the water bath canning method has worked. To show you a demo of what that looks like, as you can see now, I'm not able to press the top of the lid because it's popped down, which means it's vacuum sealed. Now I've just opened up one of the jars and it's got the perfect consistency. Just take a look. Now I've got some homemade bread here with me and I'm gonna spread some of my homemade spiced persimmon jam on it just to show you how great this jam is. I'm so happy with how well this homemade spiced persimmon jam turned out. I just love the consistency. Now it's time for a taste test. I ate the previous bread as I couldn't resist and had to prepare another one for this clip. This was the best jam I've ever had. It was 100. You can tell from the look on my face, it was so good. My decision to add cardamom and clove to this jam was an excellent one. The spices took the persimmon jam to another level. It was just too good. I think this is a great way to celebrate the autumn season. The great thing about this recipe is that it has no nasties in it. Because I've preserved the jam using the water bath canning method, the jam could last for months and months as long as it's unopened and stored in a cool, dry place. But once it's opened, you have to transfer it into the refrigerator. So, I guess we've come to the end of this video on how to make homemade spiced persimmon jam. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and please click the notification bell icon so that you can get notified whenever I upload a new video. Also, if you've got any questions on how to make this homemade spiced persimmon jam and how to do water bath canning, please leave your questions in the comment section and you can find the instructions and full recipe in the description box below. Remember, you can skip the hot water bath canning method if you'll be consuming your jam within a short period of time. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Take care. Bye.